Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to Goldie. I'm Goldie. This is what we're talking about today. Now, I'm a gigging guitar player, which means I may have a little bit of ringing in my ears, but also some ringing in my soul. We're going to look at potentially saving you one of those. Hopefully, it's the ringing in the ears, or at least stop it from progressing. Oh man. Dogs barking in the rain. Let me close the window. Hopefully that helps, man. Long story short, man, I like to bring earplugs with me all the time. My custom ear modes. Because I don't want to forget them when I'm having gigs or when I'm having rehearsals. Or if I just go to venues where there's loud stuff blasting, like music or like a dance floor or whatever. So we got to talk about the musician earplugs and the kind that don't kill your guitar tone, your vibe, or your will to live. And here's why earplugs matter. We know that drummers exist in the lands of 120 dB, and guitar amps sound best at annoying the sound engineer levels, right? Look, man, we love tone, but perhaps we would also like to hear the doorbell, the birds, and perhaps our mistresses asking us, why does the courier keep dropping off new pedals? And when it comes to earplugs, there's many types. There's the industrial ones that are just foam. Those ones are cheap and very effective at blocking sound, just plain blocking sound. But guess what? They kill your tone. It's like listening through marshmallows. Perhaps they're great for sleeping. However, they're probably going to be terrible at figuring out if you've played A flat or a very large mistake. Then you have those universal earplugs, musician earplugs. I had one of them because they're cheaper and they're still catered to musicians, which pretty much means that they attenuate a certain way. They don't suck out the treble and the high end on. All you hear is like just you don't really hear much detail. Examples of what I used before was those 3-flange ones, or Heroes, I think their name was, and also a good one that I had was the E-Racers. That's the brand E-Racers because of the way it attenuates, and for guitar players because I can hear the meat of my tone, which is more on the mid-range bark, and the grunt, which is very important to me to hear in the mix. And those kind of the E-Racers gave me that tone. The cons would be the fit won't be, it's still pretty good. However, with the E-Racers, I think one of my ears would still pop off. It was the right size, I think, because they're like a medium. And if I was going to get the larger size than the L, it would probably be too tight or whatever. It might not even fit in my ear. Then the custom molded earplugs, they're a perfect fit because of course they're molded to your ear holes. They're very comfortable for long gigs. It's like a set and forget, and the attenuation is pretty flat, especially on these ones. Probably explain that a bit later. And the acoustic filters are also replaceable in case you want like a more or less attenuation, although most likely it'll be the same type of filter, right? I think that's reasonable. And of course the cons, they're more expensive because of the labor, the skills from the audiologist that would be required. And you're sitting there with the mold, you might have a bite block for 15 minutes. Depending on your threshold for discomfort, you might feel a bit uncomfortable because it's kind of like someone taking an impression of your soul through your ear holes. And then it also takes time to get it made. But I would say it's pretty worth it, bro. You'll be starting to wonder how your past self survived without them. But this is my current setup at the moment that I'm using because I like how it sounds. Medical silicone grade with the Etymotic ER15 filters. 15 meaning it's a 15 dB attenuation, which seems it works for most situations. But when you're in a gig and it's really loud, or if you're very close to a PA speaker, you might want the 20, like a 20 plus. The one up from this is, from this filter is a 25. Probably don't need it. Maybe if I was a drummer, then I might probably need it if I'm not using in-ear monitors for the tracks or something, right? I had this all done through the audiologist. So yeah, 15 dB reduction across the entire frequency. Now I had these other filters before. They were resound filters, and they didn't suit me at all. It's sounded a bit like the mid-range grunt was sucked out, and you were left with the really, really high upper mids, and it sounded like a bit buzzy. And every time I take it off to listen to the tone, oh man, it's thicker in without the earplugs. And for a while I wasn't satisfied with it, but thank goodness the ER15, the Etymotic one, is pretty good at that. I mean, it's probably not perfectly flat attention. Perhaps it is. However, the main point there is that the mid-range grunt that I need to hear, you understand? The frequencies that I need to hear are there so that I can hear myself in the mix quite easily, which is pretty important, right? If you're not using in-ear monitors, I can hear everything, the guitar, the vocals, the cymbals, and they're all sounding natural but not deadly. Or it can sound deadly in a safe way, you know? Man, I really don't know how many years I've had this. They're very comfortable. I might even order another one. Or maybe I might order a set with different filters just to try them out, see if there's something better, like a ACS or like a Westone filter. Sometimes I actually forget that they're in. You might think that, oh, when people start talking to you, you try to take it out. You'd be surprised. I was surprised because sometimes I do. However, there are times when the loud music is going on and then someone wants to talk to me, make a comment about what just happened on stage with a band that we're watching. It's weird because they can talk in a reasonable volume and I can hear them. Like vocals seem to, like a human voice can pass through pretty okay. And then I start speaking, like replying to them in the same kind of voice, like level, thinking that they can hear me, but they barely hear me because they don't have earplugs while everything is still loud, which is surprising to me. But I'll admit, I think there are some times where I feel like when someone tries to talk to me and it's all quiet, like I'm a little bit underwater, but it's no big deal. I'll just loosen it a little bit and break the seal a little bit, and then I can hear them. Like I tend to wear my earplugs a bit loose. Of course, this is I am, but this is this demonstration. But I would wear them a bit loose when the music's not on, when we're not playing, when it's fairly quiet, and then when it's go time, just push them back in, reestablish the seal. Now I'm not sure if I can trust them with judging live mixes. Yeah, that hasn't really occurred to me. I can hear everyone: the drummer, the bass, the guitar players, the singer, the backing vocals. I can hear everything pretty good with my earplugs. No problem. But I'm not actually set out to do some scientific experiment. I don't know, it didn't really seem to matter to me. It's very, very good when you come off a loud environment, like a rock show or your gig night, and then you hear the other bands, or you even hear yourself playing, and then after the night finishes, you don't have like a weird compression in your hearing, no ringing or anything like that, or in the morning. You don't get any of that. And I don't even, when it's all time to pack up and then I'm speaking to people and I forgot that I have it, I'm not yelling at them. When I hear them talking, I can hear them very well. And so it's not like I hear them muffled and then I feel like I have to speak them in a yelling loud voice because because of them being muffled, I would think that they're also going to be hearing me muffled, but no, I can speak them normally. When I don't get that like like in construction where it's all covered up properly and you're yelling. I, I don't I don't get what do you call it? I don't feel like I'm compelled to do that, which is another good thing too. Now, are there better custom earplugs out there? Other filters that are better? Probably. 64 audio. I haven't tried the Westones. I don't know if some of them are gonna be similar to the Etymotic ER, ACS. I think there's also Alpine and Minuendo. So if you have a custom earplug with the filter that's different to what I've used, and I've used so I got the Etymotic, I've used the Resound, and I've used some improvised one where the audiologist put like a plastic tube in it inside the earpiece, and then what looked like a tiny bit of, I think, cotton or foam inside of it. It was weird, but to do some kind of attenuation, but it wasn't that effective. It was good for some attenuation, but not the attenuation that I liked, like a clean attenuation and flat attenuation. So those are the ones that I've used. So not that many. So if you have something that's different to mine, a different filter for your custom mold, I'd like to try it, man. Maybe the filter that you have would fit on the Etymotic type of filter. Like it would just be like a straight swap because they're the same shape. That would be nice. Probably some other boutique audiologists making some laboratory flat response plugs. But the important thing to me is the attenuation like style, I suppose. If it's as a guitar player, if I can hear the grunt of the mid-range at least, because being a custom earplug, it's probably a given it's going to be comfortable, that you can wear for a long time. Maybe unless if it's like a hard acrylic type material like these IEMs. You have to have a really good mold to have a good fitting IEM. Otherwise, there'll be moments where you break the seal, like when you're singing, the way your jaw will be moving around, opening wide, and like the seal will break momentarily. It can be jarring, like it takes you out of the moment, takes you out of the immersion. So if you've used the ERs, the Etymotics, and you think you have something better, then I'm always ready to spend money that I shouldn't. You too, right? But Goldie, I'm an IEM user. Do I care? That's a good question. I reckon IEM users can still benefit from earplugs, because maybe when you're just jamming things out, new songs or trialing songs, and you don't have your fridge setup or whatever setup you have. If you're going to gigs, if you're going to venues with loud stuff going on, loud music, and good earplugs still save your ears. And even if you're an IEM disciple that lives in a sealed off sonic bubble, you still need protection for when your drummer decides to warm up. Say, when you're looking to buy earplugs, are you considering to buy custom earplugs? Consider what to expect when you go to the audiologist and get the procedure done. Consider the costs, the general ranges, what kind of filtering options you want, like 9, 15, or 25, the general dB reduction levels that you'd like. For guitarists, I would say the common one is 15, and for drummers, be about 25 because it's so loud, man. And then for singers, probably 9 to 15, depending on how sensitive your hearing is going to be, or just how much attenuation you generally want. Got to consider caring for them too and cleaning. And then you got to consider backup sets as well for when you forget it at home or wherever. And consider being responsible, because if you go for custom earplugs, it's an investment. It's not just like, $10. So don't be a dickhead. You gotta take care of your small investments, because it's also an investment for your ears. You understand? So these things have changed how I play, how long I can gig, and how fresh I can feel the next day. So if you're gonna go use customs, let me know. If it's something that I haven't used before that might be interesting, you might be able to help me spend some more money. I don't know, man. I just wanted to really present my experience with earplugs and ending up with the right one, or a good one, I should say. I actually really like these. They're always in my gigging backpack. I once forgot my plugs at home, man. Felt like going to the gig naked, and technically still legal, however, deeply wrong. And perhaps I wish I would get another one so that I can carry it with me in case I end up in places with loud music, and because I don't carry my gig backpack with me all the time. It's at home. It only comes out in rehearsals or jamming times with a band or gigging. Or if I know that I'm going outside to gigs. I think if guitar players cared as much for their ears as much as their pedal boards, they would probably all be hearing like newborns. But I guess you haven't lived until you've shouted, "What?" at someone while wearing earplugs and them looking at you like you're insane. But apart from that, protect your ears, protect your tone, and protect your relationship with your sound engineer. I've been Goldie. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching. GM.